answer in this question. Sifuna in himself has not declared that he's running for president. And I want the whole country to know that Sifuna in himself still does not have a party that is a vehicle that will propel him to a presidential candidate in this country. And therefore, when people around him are telling him that you are now able to run for president, a question that you need to ask yourself is he being set up for failure, or are they trying to bite more than they can chew in this case? Remember, they're the ones who are telling him, you can run for president now. But him is not coming out to say, I want to run for president. Remember, he's the one saying that, all he's talking about is Lina Mwananchi. Little about, I want to run for president. In fact, at one point, I think, when people cornered him and asked him whether he could run for president, I remember him, saying, look, you guys want to finish me really, really soon. It's like, no, this is not where I'm going to. The crowd might perhaps give him a scenario or perhaps entice him to think that it's the right time for him to run for president. But in his inner heart, is he able to say that if I run for president, I will clinch the presidency in 2027? Remember, we're only having just a year to general election. Is he able to say, I can now mount a campaign worth its salt to ask Kenyans to make me the president? But that can also come with a vehicle for it. And I had Governor Orengo asking a lot of ODM members to support Lina Mwananchi. Lina Mwananchi in itself, even if we want somebody to support it, it's not a vehicle. It's not a registered party. And therefore, instead of perhaps saying, look, we need to go back to our places and endear our people to love what we are doing first, you're telling them to jump ship on a party that is non-existence in the first place. And so I'm coming back to what I was talking about. Yes, the president needs to really think about Mlembe Nation and the Luo Nation, and that includes even the Kisis, because those places he can get votes. Definitely he will get votes. He's gotten votes before there, but he will get even more votes this time. But the question that we need to ask ourselves is, who are the foot soldiers on the ground? Because if the foot soldiers on the ground are doing what they are supposed to do, they're showing the development projects that perhaps the president has done in those places, and I know he has done a number of them, mending fences with electorates that they've had, in Mlembe Nation, bringing in some new energies and some new strength to campaign and do underground campaign. Perhaps we might see more votes than we've not seen before, but that cannot happen if you are being scared, by a huge crowd that is following Sifuna.
Is he scared?